Square Enix is not in a good place. Talked about this a couple days ago. The president of the company might be getting fired. There's a vote coming up where they're going to talk about replacing him. And it's easy to understand why when you consider the amount of flops they've had. Now, some people will point out they've had some good games like Octopath Traveler and a few other games for the Switch that have been pretty good. I agree with you. However, it doesn't make up for the fact that they've had a lot of AAA, big-budget games completely flop. A game like Octopath Traveler doesn't take that much money to make. It takes a little bit, but it's kind of an indie title compared to Forspoken. Forspoken is a gigantic failure. They closed the studio, folded them into other Square Enix studios. This game got awful reviews. Not even the dreaded, you're a racist if you don't play this game worked. Rarely ever does anymore. The game just wasn't very good. It's mediocre, a lot of cringe dialogue. It didn't do well. And I'm sorry if you enjoyed it. Overall, a lot of others didn't. And the really interesting thing that come from this is something that I saw yesterday and couldn't believe. And that's that apparently this game has sold so bad that people are finding it in garbage dumps. So I first saw this from Larry Bundy Jr. Copies of Forspoken are now turning up in landfill sites. Do you think in 30 years' time, people will be digging for these legendary, terrible games in dumps as they did with E.T.? And here's the picture. I wanted to know a little bit more about this, though. What's going on here? And I found this. Seen Forspoken Steelbook covers already in Landfill is a sombering final chapter. I can actually play you the video now from where that picture I showed you comes from. It's in another language. I don't know what this guy is saying, but take a listen for yourself.
Você percebe que o jogo foi fracasso quando a GameStop do shopping joga no lixo, cara, os steelbooks do jogo. Olha que vergonha. Tá maluco, cara. Esse jogo foi flop desgraçado.
So that's not... that's embarrassing. I'll play it again for you here with the sound off. If anyone knows what he's saying, please let me know in the comments. Sounds like he's speaking French, but yeah, these are Forspoken Steelbooks. So the special edition of the game. These probably cost like $10 more than the actual box version because, well, they're steelbooks. Steelbooks are usually pretty collectible, actually. At least on the Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray side, I've got a few steelbooks. They usually go out of print and become worth something. If you're a collector, it's kind of cool to have them. And I would imagine it's probably the same for video games. So, yeah, this game is actually at garbage dumps. I don't know if this is a widespread thing. I don't know if there's a lot of stock out there in landfills. But this is kind of shocking to see. I'm not going to lie. I rarely think anything like this has happened. The last time I can think of a game being dumped in a garbage dump is E.T. Then you also recently had the news that Funko Pops are going into the trash. $30 million worth. This isn't a good sign. Anytime you see something like this happen, the reason that it's being done is for a tax write-off. Because, I mean, they're not even recycling these things. They're not even recycling them. They don't even want to give them away for charity. Kind of like Forspoken. Yeah, this was the big news the other day. it's crazy to see this, and that, now Forspoken's at the garbage dump. Funko Pop's an interesting conversation because a lot of comic book shops depend on these. Like, not a lot of people are running into shops to buy comics. And one of the ways that they kind of supplemented that was to sell you a Funko Pop. Cute little things. They're more like Beanie Babies, to be honest. But they take up a lot more room. Like, there's only so much room you have for these things and so much space on a mantle or a window or wherever you put them. So it was only a matter of time till this started happening. How many Yodas do I need? How many First Order stormtroopers do I need? So this was bound to happen eventually. Everything loses popularity over time. But yeah, this was something. Kind of blew my mind to see this when I saw Larry post this the other day. Forspoken came and went like a fart in the wind. Maybe some journals should have been talking about Forspoken instead of threatening everyone for playing Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's actually a good point. They were so wrapped up in that game. And Larry says releasing at the same time as Hogwarts Legacy was idiocy. It's true. You would have thought they learned that lesson last year when they released Babylon's Fall, the same week as Elden Ring. Yeah, I think there's something to say there. Like, definitely releasing a game against Hogwarts Legacy was a stupid idea, because that game was going to be a juggernaut. Forspoken is not the one that was going to take it down, but a lot of people reacting. Surely it wasn't ET levels bad. To be honest, I never bought it, as I knew it'll fall in price, but I heard the controls were clunky. Could a disc survive 30 years in a landfill? I don't know. They deteriorate, so I'm not sure. They do start to disintegrate over time. This is just wild to me. Like, you could have discounted this, but even with a hefty discount, how much would this game have sold, really, Anyway, pay your respects to Forspoken in the comments. It's being literally buried alive at landfills. So let me know. What do you think about this? Give your little funeral reception in the comments if you would. I'd love to read them. Also, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.